Welcome to Moonlight Madness, and today we're doing a reading for the sign of Earth Signs for middle October 2021. We have the three decks I use all the time, the Fairy Tarot cards by Doreen, Virtue and Radley Valentine, which I need a new deck because I've pretty much had these for 5 years. They're starting to get really tattered, but they're my favourites. And then I've got the Enchanted map by Colette-Baron-Reid, Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette-Baron-Reid. And the first card I pulled today was the Princess of Pentacles. Oops, if I can pick it up. That's that one there. She's with a books, loves to learn. Could be a librarian for some of you, or wanting to be a librarian. I know that was my favourite game to play when I was a kid. So it talks about being studious, mischievous, responsible, cheerful, good news to do with a new job, new career, well thought out plans. Needs a little push to get going, but once they look off the starting blocks, they run with it. They love to learn. Crossing you, Four of Swords, is to do with everyone right now. Not many people are sleeping out there because, well, we don't know what's going on. Everything's up in the air. So it's talking about COVID, being in lockdown, being restricted, having trouble sleeping with all the changes, need for a sleep or vacation. Meditation is needed to reflect what will be illuminated on this full moon. Will come to you in your sleeping form. An astral image, you might gather knowledge and insight to your future through sleep. That's how I get my impressions when I'm asleep. So it talks about in the past you had an awakening. That can be to do with just awakening to spirit. Sometimes you hear about people going through these near-death experiences. I was one of them. And from this near-death experience, I saw all these things that happened with COVID. People just thought I was nuts and tried to lock me up in a sanitary loony bin, but when it actually all came true, and I'm on the phone to the therapist, the psychologist who I haven't seen her for a while, but she's really good, Melissa Clare, the local psychologist, was working on her university papers, and I told her to tell the right people, and I think she did. So thanks to Melissa Clare, big shout out for her. She's amazing as a child psychologist. She takes you right back, and she worked a lot with me, and if it wasn't for her I wouldn't be here today. So yeah, be careful where you go and buy drinks from. Someone might spike your drinks. That was my story. So it talks about looking at the past and needing to look at life from a new perspective, embracing your quirkiness. People will be woke to your higher knowledge from a higher spiritual level. It reminds you how rare you are and magical. Others may have labelled you as weird or unusual. I know my last job, people in the makeup industry thought I was a nutter. But then when I started telling things for the clients, I started giving the clients like readings, because I was doing massage therapy out the back on the bed. And one of the tables was for Shiseido, big well-known brand. I started reading this lady, and she's like, "How do you know?" I'm like, "I just see this stuff." So I was talking to her, and she went on to ask me about what I saw, and I told her, "Oh, did you have a car accident?" And I was telling her exactly the spot where she had whiplash, and she still, because I just felt that there was something sensitive in that area, just on a knowing, on an inner knowing, just like I can kind of sense energy. I do it with my son when I used to massage him. I could feel like where there was blockages, and that was a definite blockage area. I think it was C7. That was on her neck. That's where she'd had 7 years prior. And I'm so glad I asked her that, because you're meant to disclose that when you go in for a massage or a facial. You're meant to fill out a form to say, have you had a car accident? Which areas? So I'll avoid those areas. She should have told me that, but because I'm psychic, she didn't need to. So it's kind of a good thing for me, because I protected myself. I could have been liable for dislodging an old injury that she had not disclosed in the form that you have to fill out, like a non-disclosure form. Something about that with someone else as well. So be careful when you say what you have done in the past, or if you go to apply for a job, you must tell people what you've done in order to get the job, because they don't want to be in a workers' compensation thing for that reason. So it says here, you are very rare, you are magical, and you can see how an incredible strength it took to just be you and all your weirdness. A card of charity, giving to worthwhile causes, extend aid and compassion to others. Do not overgive. Learn to be selfish with your time. This is for Earth signs, Earth rising, Earth, Sun, Moon. So this might apply to you, even though you might be an air sign with an Earth, Moon. So it says here, you need to be selfish with your time. You need to have your own alone time. It's good to be helpful and be compassionate and reach out a hand if you've got a nursing background or you're a very compassionate person. But you can't overstretch yourself, because that's when you get burnout. And when you get burnout, it's not a good thing. It takes a long time to get over it. And then you feel drained, you're tired, because you've given all your good energy to the people that you're trying to help. when I did beauty therapy, I'd come away from it after 8, I think it was 8 massages. We had signature facials lined up in a well-known company called Clarins, and I can remember walking away from that and curling up into a fetal position when I got home and just wanting to just be left alone because I was so exhausted, I was so drained because I'd given all that good energy to them and they're feeling wonderful. But then I've walked away with all their negative energy, and I used to get pains and aches in areas I never used to get before. And I think a lot of that was their energy that I was absorbing. So I've got to learn how to block that off. I still do it today. I seem to absorb energy from houses, people, things, places, objects. I also work with jewellery, and I pick up energy off people's cups, people's things, like psychometry they call it. So I do that as well. So that's my other fantastic gifts that I should start wearing gloves. No, I can remember working in a pharmacy many years ago as a pharmacy assistant, and I was just a junior. And this lady came in, she had gloves on. It was the middle of summer. I said, oh, they're nice gloves. I was just admiring them. And she's like, oh, they're my driving gloves. And I couldn't understand why she would have gloves on. It was like the middle of summer. And now I kind of twig. She might have been a relative of mine or something, but she had that same ability that she touches objects, she picks stuff up off it. So I'm not really good in op shops because I'll take home that person's energy, good or bad. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I try to go for brand new things if I can, but if I do go to op shops, I get things that I can, cleanse with a smudging stick, or I wash them. When I get them home, I wash them and put salt on them and just maybe do like, just sort of clear the energy out of the clothing with a smudge stick. So that's what I do because I love op shopping. I'm a big fan. But I do sometimes absorb some things from that particular clothing. So it says here, in your recent past earth signs, you've got a Queen of Swords. So someone around you, it would be a Libra, Aquarian, or a Gemini. That might have been in your past as a friend or a relative around you. They could be very strong. They could be cutting with words. They're blunt. They let go of people, things, and places that no longer served them. So once there's drama, they just cut them off. That's what the Queen of Swords does. She has a sword and she just cuts the tie. They're very wise and they're spookily knowing, friend or relative. They've seen it all, hardships, difficulties, and only made them stronger and more resilient because of it. They know exactly what to do if you don't. Point you to a solution with your knowledge. Amazing patience, easy way about them, also extremely funny. Vast and diverse experiences long ago released all the people that caused them drama and joy. They can put you in your place without you realising it though. Justice. So this is a card with Libra energy because we're in Libra season, so that makes sense. They're all about fairness and right and wrong and balancing the scales of, their negative and their positive, I guess, birthright. What justice do you want? Feeling taken advantage of? Stick to your principles and belief. Your opinions are correct. Be impartial and objective when asked to make choices that involve other people. Compassion, objectivity, and act on their behalf in their best interests. Your side will be clearly seen in mediations if you've got to go through a court battle or anything like that. The Princess of Swords is the balance card, and that's the Libra energy, so that backs up my first card with the future, which is the Princess of Swords. So that's confirmed. It's definitely in the future you'll be dealing with a Libran, earth signs, who is younger energy. So they're a younger Libran. And they speak their truth with kindness, but they're unpredictable. And they can tell life from fiction in seconds. They're very innovative. This comes from the younger sign. They're logical and realistic, and because they're so logical and realistic, they kind of cut their emotions off really quick if they sense that you're lying to them or they don't feel safe with you. So they'll be very guarded. They're kind of like an ice cube. You can't get close to them. They'll just melt in your hand. They won't melt for anyone. They're like solid ice. So you can't really get to the nitty gritty with them. They're going to just put smoke screens up because they want to protect their own self, their own feelings. They can be very sharp with their words. They can probably speak before thinking. They focus on messages. So if you focus on the message they're trying to deliver, not how they deliver it, it can be hurtful words from them. They reduce the contact with them. I find if some of them get quite, literally, they get their knickers in a knot with their tongue because they get twisted up and then they get cranky and then the words that come out of their mouth are quite hurtful and they don't even realise it, but maybe they do. They just sort of, Librans can either go one way or the other way. When they're in a really good mood, it's great people to be around, but when they're not, you just don't go around them or don't phone them. That's what I find works well. They've got scattered thoughts though. They're trying to gain some balance by moderation, self-restraint, merging viewpoints to create a superior opportunity. They're taking their time, they're open to compromise, they like to cooperate with people to find a perfect resolution in which each person's viewpoint is seen, a win-win. They're pausing to take a few deep breaths or a quiet walk. It says, ask your guides to remove any anxieties you are experiencing. Maybe go to a body of water, like a pond, just to watch the water, to reflect and watch the waves. And it helps you with creative solutions by just taking yourself away from the problem you can't figure out. I find I used to take lots of breaks when I did study in university. If I went for a walk to the beach or to the park or something, and then I'd come back to it, and I found I'd have a fresher viewpoint. There's an old saying in retail, when I worked in retail and with beauty therapy, and one of the managers said to me, look at it with fresh eyes. So what she was like saying is, go for your break, come back, and you've had that time to reflect on what you need to change in order to get foot traffic to come through and to purchase products. And so then I'd look at it with fresh eyes, and I'd have to redesign or re-merchandise all the stock. And that was really good, because then you could do something different and make it look inviting. So it's all about visual aids. So it talks then about, this is what's coming for you: an offer or a job or a new career change, courage to take a leap. It's a hand from, like someone was saying on YouTube, this can represent like a gift from the gods or a gift from spirit, or someone that's crossed over is handing you this job. They're around you right now if they've passed over, and I'm thinking it's very strong. I'm intuiting it's a fire sign. So if you've got a parent that's passed over recently, or is passing over, or they're not here anymore, or you had a strong connection with them, they're giving you this job. It's from them. It's from spirit. So that's what I was told. That's intuitively. So if they could be like a fire sign, so it could be a Leo, Sagittarian, or an Aries sign. And so it says here to take a leap, be daring, be fearless, pursue your dreams, all the steps, no need to plan them all out at once, just forward movement, full steam ahead. And then you've got more movement, more energy, which is the Chariot. So this could be work-related travel. You could be jumping on a plane to go to a destination for work. So you might have like a gig where you do, like I used to do makeup, and I'd go from one counter to the next. So it was always traveling. I'd travel from Sydney to Newcastle. Or, I know there's a company I used to work for, they actually fly their people to and from 3 different locations, like Melbourne, Sydney, and I think it's Brisbane. And so they're promotional people. So that could be someone who does promotions, or they could be they could be an actor and they have to fly out to locations. So you could be someone that flies out to locations to do a gig for 6 to 12 months. So that's what it's talking about there. It's also talking about having a lot of drive, and they certainly ain't a quitter. Their shoes could have holes in them, and they'll keep up a pace. Not everyone has that amount of energy reserves, but these people could be like this ADHD, or like huge amounts of energy. I've got massive amounts of energy, so I've got to go walk. I call it run the battery down. I have to go for huge walks in order to sleep at night, because I have so much energy. So it could be also Sagittarius vibes. A new car for some, or work-related travel. Stay strong, determined, remain steadfast, and do not allow others to steer you off your direction. You can accomplish far more than you have dreamed of. Step into the spotlight. Draw attention to yourself, even if you're not the sort of person that likes to be in the public eye. You can be overwhelming, and I think someone has called it overexposure. I've heard that word many times over. Sometimes when you're overexposed to a situation, it can feel like you just want to retreat from the world. And a lot of actors become recluses because they're just so sick of the attention. They can't step out their front door without someone taking a photo or aiming a lens in their face, or going through their garbage. I've heard some reporters do to get information. So they just want to have their own little fortress. It's quite isolating to be famous. It says, step into the spotlight, though you need to at this moment in order to probably promote something essential at this time. Just be genuine and optimistic in your dealings with the public. The Wheel of Fortune, in 1 year's time, it's talking about a huge change is coming in for you. You're going to do a complete turnaround, like a car spins out on a track. When a car spins like out of control on a track, that's pretty much what it's talking about. It's going from facing one way to facing the opposite direction, and getting a whole different viewpoint on it. And it's like you're passing out of maybe a really fallow time. So intuitively I'm getting, for some earth signs, you're coming out of a place of nothing, like lacking, like as we're going through COVID, no one's been working, so there's a lack of money. Well, it's saying that in 1 year's time, that's all going to change, because your new job will take you to financial heights that you'll be able to bank some and maybe invest in a nice car or invest in a nice house. But it's talking about this complete, 180 degrees. It's just going to change dramatically for you. And it's going to spin in the right way. And all the hair, the gold, that's they're like spinning hair into gold. It's pretty much what you're going to do. You're going to spin all your extra energy, and hair represents prosperity. I was researching this before, so prosperity is the hair. And if you see on the card there's also like what do you call it? He's got a spindle, and he's had to turn it with his hard work. So it's talking about to get where you've got to get to. It's upward hill. It's a steep climb, but you can do it. You might be able to stamp out on the competition that's around you. You might have competition in the field that you work in, so you've got to go that extra mile in order to get the attention. So the energy and the hitting the mark. If you're an actor, you need to be able to hit your mark when you deal with people. But you are in a really lucky phase at the moment. So if you've got to take a lotto ticket, do it now. I think there's a lotto this week sometime. So I'll be pulling some more cards. These are just to confirm what I've already picked. So this is the Wisdom of the Oracle, the Colette-Baron-Reid. It's a full moon today, so that's why I felt compelled to do a reading. And I tend to get lots of images before a full moon, 2 weeks leading up to a full moon. I think most people who are spiritual like me tend to get impressions on a full moon quite strong, very strong forces at work. I get my best astral projections come through where I can, see stuff before it happens, usually during the full moon cycle. I'm also not able to sleep very well because the full moon's quite illuminating of things. It illuminates the wrong things, and it can highlight the things you need to work on as well. If you've done inner work, that's great. If you get to do that inner work, you need to go and do that work. I did lots of therapy back in my past, and I found that they were really helpful. And yes, it's like picking out a scab. You think it's going to bleed out, but you need to keep bleeding out, as in crying it out or getting it out, so that you can move on. You can get that splinter out of your chest, that hurt, that pain, the sword out of your chest. So what have we got? Unfinished business, unfinished symphony. It's like you've got some of you might be singers on stage and you've got a song in your head but you can't get it out. I've pulled that too. I'm thinking it's this one. You need to co-create with someone. If you're a creative, you need to co-create. Maybe unite two businesses together. They might go hand in hand. That's what I'm getting with that. Okay, and then I'll pull out. This is for the Enchanted map, the Oracle cards. Oh, that was falling out. Yeah, ooh, that's a good card. That's the Aries energy. The Manifestor, that's what the Ace of Wands was, what I pulled out before. About being fearless and pursuing something new. This is Magician. You're gonna just speak about something and it will materialize. My mother was excellent at that. She would say, I'm going to do this, and it actually used to happen, just as she predicted it. And I'm like, how does she know? But she also has that knowledge. She's probably had it since she was a kid. Coming to life. This is beautiful. I like this. Again, new starts, all brand new energy. We've just come out of, the winter solace, and we've headed into the spring, which was on the 23rd of September. That's a new solace, so it's like the summer solace. Oh, sorry, spring equinox, I should say. And the spring equinox talks about moving things forward, and babies are born, and you've got the new flowers are coming out. Spring is springing. Everything that's been locked or hidden away in COVID, it's like it's been in a deep freeze, is now bursting to get outside and be amongst it. I've been walking so much because I want to be in the sunshine, and I find it helps me to sleep better, but it helps me to meditate. So if I've watched something scary online or I've heard some news, I just go outside and go for a walk, and I find that just centers me. I think it's really important to do that. So we'll go with 10. The Unfinished Symphony. So someone could be a musician, like I said, like a singer. And they'll be getting lots of work now that everything's opening back up. Here we go. Unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, a lack of closure, the need to make amends. This is a time to tie up loose ends as you near the completion of a cycle or project. and mastery of a lesson or skill. Before you can move forward, it's important you come to terms with where you are now. Practical, radical acceptance. Take inventory so that emotional and psychological closure can occur and the answers you seek will be found. You can't move forward if you're leaving things unfinished or half done. Reflect on what has passed so the symphony can finally end on a high note. Moving on is difficult when love lingers. Things are left unsaid and you haven't had the opportunity for closure in your relationship and in your heart. You can still feel bound up in relationships when closure is denied you. It's important to achieve this for yourself. Write that letter, make that call, or have that conversation over a cup of coffee. For peace of mind, accept matters as they are, make amends if need be, and declare your feelings, even if only to yourself. Be clear about what was left unresolved. And if you can't resolve it with that person or place or thing and it's still causing you grief, just say a prayer. Just send a prayer out. That's what I do. When I can't speak with someone or see someone or have no contact with them, I find it's probably better to release that hurt by keeping away, keeping a distance, being no contact, and just praying. Or doing a video chat or duo chat. That's a good way to connect with people without actually having to be in the same room as them. Or email. I find words sometimes work better when you can write them down. Send a letter. I find if I get too upset about something, I used to email. I could be better on paper and get all my emotions out on paper than what I could verbally. So it says here, you can set yourself free. Only then new love can blossom. Make sure your complete projects now before starting new ones. Perhaps you should have created something special that would increase your sense of abundance and bring you opportunities for wealth. However, if you don't see it through, it won't add up to anything but more clutter. Now is the time to put your nose to the grindstone, complete the tasks that have accumulated, pay your bills, sign the documents, do your filing, hand in an assignment, complete a work of art, tie up loose ends so you can move forward with surety, knowing you're on the prosperous path and feeling refreshed and excited about the future. Yeah. So when unfinished business casts a shadow over your life, it is a reminder that procrastination is a form of self-sabotage. It is not in your best interest to stall. Even stumbling forward is better than holding back. So I think that's part of Earth signs, and I think part of Librans is they procrastinate over what they're going to do or how to go about it. It's just once they get moving and they get on it, you just need a little bit of a push, then they're fine, and they start sailing through it because they've had that little bit of encouragement from someone or direction from someone, just a little prompt, a little sign, a little signal to keep going. Co-create, that's number 40. I really like this card because you've got two completely different species there who are managing to create something beautiful out of nothing. You've got a cheetah, and then you have this beautiful owl. They're opposites. They shouldn't even be on the same fence. Like he's lower here and he's higher here in the food chain. But they're creating this egg together. The egg's got a cheetah. I've not noticed that. First time I've noticed that before. The cheetah's spots are all over the egg. They've created this, I guess, bi-species. There's two species that have come to create this new species of people, like a new human. And we're doing that in the world right now with Aquarian energy. We're trying to make robots to help us do jobs we can't do anymore, like labour, like heavy labour work. So that's what Elon Musk is doing right now. He's trying to make a humanoid robot to help make our lives easier, which I think is really good. As long as, he said you don't give too much power to a robot. Make sure it's nothing like Terminator. So we've got 40. All right. Creativity, art, inspiration, fruition, manifestation. You may not consider yourself a creative person, but in fact you are creating your reality every moment of every day by your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, intentions, and actions. Yet you must consider that you do it so in partnership with spirit and consciousness, God, or whatever you call your higher power. You are a spark of the intelligence that works through you, nudging you with inspired thought and intuitive guidance. You are a paintbrush that co-creates a beautiful, unique expression of your own individuality, blended with universal spirit. You are a product of divine inspiration, and now you're aligned with it to create miracles. When you view your life as art and know you co-create it, only beauty and grace result. We're prepared to be amazed. Connections of the heart serve to inspire you, opening you up to new ideas you would never have come to on your own. You are looking in a mirror, held up by this experience, and seeing yourself in an unexpected way. Who is this extraordinary being looking back at you? You are going to be so happy that you kept your heart open. Your love is a unique work of art now, and the very embodiment of beauty. So you're going to get flashes of inspiration, give rise to great success when you receive this message. You're at your most creative now. Whatever you apply yourself, you will lead you to fruition of your dreams. Remember that all your ideas are channeled from a higher source. You create your reality in partnership with Spirit. The potential for manifestation is unlimited now. Revel in its vastness. So it's saying, yeah, you're in the right frame of mind to go after this new career and co-create and maybe make something else out of two businesses together. Like wedding people, they all hook up with flowers and you get package deals, like in, I think it's called Bridal Magazine White. If they co-created, I know some companies have co-created. I approached one the other day for a job. So they've married up, I think it was Crab Apple and Evelyn, with a staging company and with someone that does, like, I guess, photography. And I said, well, do you need a makeup artist? And like, yeah, we could probably use one in the future, because they're not sure what to do because of everything going on with COVID. So businesses are like the old co-op. They used to have a co-op shop years ago. That's going back to how it used to be when I was little. They'd have a little shop on the corner. They would have two shops together to share the rent. And I think that's what we're going back to. Instead of these huge conglomerates that take over the shopping centres, demand outrageous rentals, and then push all that, I guess, all that stress onto the managers to get the funds up to just to pay for the rent of the property, of the being in Westfield. That's massive amounts of pressure on anyone. And then the shops can't run because they can't afford the rent, so then they go out of business. And that's why a lot of shops are closing down in places like Westfield. Okay, so the little co-ops, the old unique little quirky things, they're the things that we miss out on because they're different, they're unique, they're handcrafted, they're one of a kind. Like in Derby Street, if you walk down Derby Street, all the shops there are little tiny shops. They're not even a conglomerate, but they do so well at Christmas time because people don't want to go to the big shops. They want something different, something unique. You've got to think outside the box in order to draw people back in to want to go shop again. Shopping online, you can't touch, taste or feel it. You can't try it on. It's not the same. You don't get the same sensory experience. And people are looking for that because they've been shut away in a cabin with cabin fever for over 6 months. So when we've got here coming to life, 29. That's a really good card. I think this is like the death card in the tarot deck. Kind of the same sort of vibe. 29. Here we go, coming to life. Something beautiful is being held here. You can look at your life. Can you see how you've grown and evolved over time? Perhaps you've shed many skins, like the snake does when he sheds his skin, or the caterpillar becomes a butterfly. Your identities and created new ones, or at least matured in your ideas about yourself and the world you inhabit. You know things take time, and Spirit's timetable is rarely on yours. So this card indicates that a long-held dream is beginning to show signs of life. You must try not to coax it along or shape it according to what you want. Spirit knows the best form for this manifestation of this dream, this new business idea, or this new career, and your life can become even better than you could possibly imagine. Now is the time for reverence and awe. Allow the contours of your path to be carved by the hands of the divine. All you have to do is show up. Well, that's really cool. That's like the creation. And again, it's all about creative energy. So people that are creatives in the fields are going to bloom now because they've been able to work on pictures and movies and songs, because out of sadness comes heartbreak. But then out of that, it helps to speak to what other people have been going through. They can express it in music or acting or dance. Wizard of Awareness. So this is like the Magician card, I guess you'd call this one. And that's number 3. Yes. Mindfulness is about being observant. Your soul knows best. Be still and observe. Remain neutral about what goes on in the world around you. If you're a nurse, that's the first port of call. You need to observe your patient. Watch how they are. Check in on them. See their tone of voice. See how their body language. Watch their body language. Rarely can people lie to your face because their body language always gives them away. This applies to the environment within you too. If you struggle inside yourself, stepping into observer position gives you a new, powerful perspective that neutralizes any discomfort or overexcitement. You have the capacity to see things clearly now, unencumbered by opinion or desire. Wow. Wearing the world as a loose garment requires you to adopt a sense that nothing has happened to you as personal. People come and go, experiences evolve from one state to another in a continual shifting and change. No matter how much you want things to stay the same, the Wizard of Awareness asks you to give up your need to find or limit what you're experiencing now. It's all good. Let it be and watch this miracle unfold without any direct influence from you. So, yeah, everything's changing, and this is normal. That's the thing with life. It is full of changes. I keep saying to my son, the only certain things in life is, in my entire life, I've ever known, is death and taxes. That's the only certain things. But I can tell you this, I did see in a dream 2 years ago, I'm usually 2 years out, 2 weeks to 2 years, sometimes 2 to 20 years out. I saw a place where I was going to work, and so I got an image of it. So I walked in there on a whim. This is all before COVID, and I happened to talk to the guy he hadn't even opened. So I knocked on his door and I said, can I come in and have a chat? And I asked him about work. He said, yeah, sure, come put your resume in and come and see me and all that. And I didn't have the confidence back then to do that. It was what I wanted to do, but I hadn't worked through, I hadn't done my inner work. I hadn't done or wrestled with my demons. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I could do that job. So I didn't go back. And then COVID opened up. I thought about that last time I went there, because I was thinking about my nana and places she used to take me when I was a kid. And something said, go there. So I went back. I called them up today and I said, have you got any work? Would you need a kitchen head? They said, yes, I do. Out of the blue. And I'm like, wow. And they said they can't give me definite timetable or definite hours, but I felt like spirit was guiding me. I had a vision of my nana in my head with her and I went on Thursdays when she'd get paid, and we used to go shopping in this little cafeteria, which was beautiful. It looked like a restaurant, and we would have a cinnamon donut together, and that was our payday thing. And to mark the occasion, she used to get this beautiful a napkin, and she'd write the date of and Nana and Kelly at the shop that we went to all the time. And that was her thing, and that was just a little memory in time. So I was thinking about her every Thursday. I think about her because that was the day we used to go and have this special donut or whatever it was, a meringue, and that was our time to do that. That was like payday. We get to have a nice meal, and to this day, I'll get something. I'll shout myself whatever it is, like a sushi roll or something on payday, because that was payday, and that was like to mark it. It's something that I've been brought up with, so it's kind of like I've done it with my children too. On payday we get a pizza, so it's like it's just a memory that I've passed along. It was quite a good memory, and she led me to this job. So thanks, Nina. I've got this job. I've got to go start it very soon, but I was led to it through a vision. And so you have to sometimes go with your gut. Your gut will lead you where you need to go to. It will lead you to the place you need to visit, the place you need to move to. It led me to where I live now. But I won't be staying here long because I've seen myself move again. I keep seeing moving trucks. That's a sign from spirit. You're moving. Yeah, there's lots of movement for a lot of people. They're going to have to just pack up and leave. I see people going, you know what? Ditch everything and then go overseas. I see a lot of people emptying out their storage bins because now COVID's come out of lockdown. People are going to go, you know what? I'm done with old stuff. I want new stuff in my life. I don't want to attract the same bad luck. And I think that's a good way to go. I think sometimes it's good to get rid of objects that were from a painful part of your life, whether it be a painful breakup, a painful marriage, a painful home, something with bad memories. If you need to give away the stuff inside the home and put new stuff in, because new stuff attracts new energy. You don't have to move your house, don't have to sell your house, but you can take all the stuff out and donate it to charity. And then get new stuff that has new energy, not the old energy, because that old stuff follows you. And all those old bad emotions follow you to the new house. Like attracts like, law of attraction. So any Taurus or Virgo or Capricorns out there, don't sell your house, just get rid of your furniture. And then you'll have a brand new feeling, a brand new, and smudge your house with some, what do I use? Clary sage. Smudge it with clary sage. Burn some incense. Do some frankincense, protection. Even go around all your furniture with the frankincense. I find that gets rid of energy too. And then put in some, soft music, some little candles, little tea lights, and burn some oil. Burn some rose oil and rose crystals around the house. That also brings love back in the house. You can invoke things like that. You can get rid of things and invoke things. I've done a meditation recently where you breathe in the crystal, the white crystal's energy, breathe out on the black crystals, the negative, and let that go. Sometimes if anxiety is created from not breathing properly, with shallow breathing. Deep breathe in, hold for 5, breathe out and hold for 5. I find that helps really good when you go walking. If you get too excited, too much coffee, terrible for a sensitive. Sensitives or psychic mediums should only do 3 coffees at the most. The last one should be done early, and then go for a massive walk, and then drink lots of water. Because you take all that in, all that nervous energy, and it's really hard to shake it off. So then switch to tea. That's what I've been doing. Green tea for the rest of the day. I hope that helps some Taurus, Virgos or Capricorns out there.